Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison. I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising as we begin to bring 2022 to a close. This is our final week. Our last session is on Friday the 16th, and we'll take a break over the holidays until the 9th of January. We want today to continue our discussion of the transformation of consciousness. We talked about modern day magic over the last 2 days, and today we are going to delve into integral transformation of consciousness with a program that we'll be talking about in a few minutes. But I wanted to begin our program today by thanking everybody out there that has been responding to my opening talk on Monday about the war in Ukraine. I've made a video now, which is now on YouTube, that I'll put in the link, the chat box in a moment. But I want to just express my appreciation for all of you out there that have been responding to me about what's going on in Ukraine. Ukraine is the greatest strategic mistake that the United States has made in its entire history. It's putting the world at risk of nuclear exchange and the deconstruction of the global order right at the moment when we need global cooperation and an enhanced global infrastructure to deal with the most pressing issue of our time. And that is runaway climate change, which can only really be called climate disaster, which is taking place now exponentially. And so for there to be war and a deconstruction of the global capacity for cooperation at this moment is really a crime against humanity. And so I have been speaking out about it. I welcome people to be in touch with me. We have no peace movement in the United States and almost no peace movement in Europe. That needs to change. This is the first war in my lifetime, and I'm a guy that came out of the 1960s. We fought the war in Vietnam. We brought it to a standstill. We've opposed the invasion of Iraq. We opposed the invasion of Afghanistan. But strangely, coming to the most dangerous juncture that may risk nuclear exchange, the progressive forces are strangely silent. And I've decided, simply as a human being and a citizen of the United States, that it's time for somebody to speak out. And so I urge you to see my video where I explain in the spirit of the teach-ins in the 1960s, where we actually had to explain to the American people what was going on in Vietnam. We were told that Ho Chi Minh was a Hitler-esque figure, that he was invading South Vietnam and was going to take over all of Southeast Asia. And that we had to stand against the spread of world communism. As we look back on it, obviously that was all absurd. But that's what 80% of the American public and the Western public believed, and was the pretext for the United States going in to Vietnam that caused the carnage of tens of thousands of US soldiers dead, millions of Vietnamese killed and homeless, and a whole country destroyed. And we did it again in Iraq. We did it in Afghanistan. We did it in Libya. Now we're doing it again in Ukraine, and it needs to stop. That's what's true. So I'm doing everything that I can, and I want to urge all of you who want to take a second look at Ukraine to look at my video and see what we can do together to create a momentum toward peace. Because if we don't, cataclysm at levels we can't imagine are going to ensue, because the situation now in Ukraine is as dangerous as the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, during which the world came within a hair's breadth of going to nuclear war. 2022 is the 60th anniversary of the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it is now even more dangerous. And we need to take that in, not just as Americans, but anybody watching this program. So I urge you, be in touch with me. You can get in touch with me at jgarrison1951@gmail.com. And we need to spread the word, and we need to do what's necessary for the sake of our children and for the sake of history. Before we launch into our program today, let us pause in the midst of all of this and just simply breathe together. The more the external world spins out of control, the more our inner world needs to be brought to a place of calm. And the most effective way to do that, bar none, is simply to breathe in a conscious and regulated way. And we do it in a very specific way called coherence breathing. So in a moment, you're going to hear the sound of a bell, and just begin to breathe in very, very slowly for about 5.5 seconds. Then you hear another bell, and just breathe out slowly for about 5.5 seconds. We're going to do that for 10 breaths. According to science and according to the ancient mystics, this is the most effective way known to bring calm to your emotions, to bring acuity to your mind, and optimize all your body systems into coherence. Thank you, everyone. Let us breathe together. Thank you, everyone. Don't you feel better? Plotinus said that all the universe, the whole universe, breathes as one. So when we breathe as one, the universe breathes as one. It's my pleasure now to introduce Kareem Curry, and Alexander Konstantinov, who are the co-directors of the Institute for Integral Transformation. They've designed a course, Going Down the Rabbit Hole, spelled HWHOLE, Going Down the Rabbit Hole, that is about the transformation of consciousness in a very effective, integral way. So we've invited them to share their thoughts and their perspectives on this matter. So Kareem and Alexander, I welcome you to Humanity Rising. I turn the program over to you, and after you finish your presentation, I'll circle back and we'll have a dialogue and look at the questions and comments in the chat, and that will be our program for today. But welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jim. Thank you for that amazing introduction and for sharing the peace movement with us. It's very inspiring, and we're looking forward to joining that movement as well.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you, everyone who's joined us today. We're very excited to tune in from Bali in Indonesia. So it's midnight for us. We're surrounded by nature. So if you get to hear some funky noises here and there, it'll be the nature around us. My name is Karime.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sasha.
We're very excited to be here. And before we get started with our presentation and our perspective sharing, I'd like to tell you a little bit about our journey, the journey that got us both, Sasha and I, to be here sharing what we're going to be sharing with you today. So just like anyone else, we've been on our path of personal evolution since we were born, right? Evolution happens naturally in all of nature, and we are nature. Us human beings are nature. And so we've been on our path of personal evolution since we were born. But I don't know if we were as intentional and conscious about that path throughout our entire lives. So since very young, I was on a quest for spirituality. I was very curious. I was very much attuned to Buddhism and different philosophies that were explaining a little bit beyond the physical matter. And were explaining some of my experiences, my inner experiences. And Sasha, on his own path, he was on a quest for human development, self-improvement, and self-transformation. So suffice to say that when we came together, we kind of started intensifying each our individual quests, but also we started going on a joint quest. And that quest led us to many beautiful places. And it led us to live in 7 different countries together. It led us to acquire world-class education, and it led us to have really beautiful jobs and really impactful roles in society. But the truth is that we weren't quite satisfied. There was something within the both of us that was not yet fulfilled across the years. And despite our beautiful relationship, we're a married couple, despite the beautiful relationships we had around us, the great jobs, the great salary, the beautiful lifestyle in Silicon Valley, all of these things didn't quite satisfy us. And this internal chronic dissatisfaction grew bigger and bigger. And in 2019, we decided to let go of all attachments, to kind of shed all identities that we were so strongly attached to. That is our positions, our roles, our different ideas of who we were. And we jumped into the void. We embarked on a 1.5-year world trip where pandemic hit us along the way, and that was a whole interesting journey for us. Talking about letting go and letting go of attachments, that was a beautiful letting go of attachment to what we thought the trip was going to be like. And the world travels really meant the inner travels, the inner world travels. And we had beautiful geographic stages. Yes, we did end up traveling to many countries. Really, the truth was that we were seeking ourselves during that journey. And we went through many different experiences, all the way from shamanic experiences, plant medicine experiences, to taking courses with Ken Wilber himself online, and doing all different kinds of practices, and let's say bringing into our lives all different kinds of schools of knowledge and practices. And by learning and putting all of these things together, that was our full-time job, if you will. We just were dedicated to that journey. And for a year and a half, we collected all of the insights we had been collecting throughout our lives, but specifically for that year and a half, we collected everything we've been learning and practicing. And what was born out of that is the rabbit hole, which is an integral system for self-transformation. We've shared this with family members, with friends, with clients. And honestly, the main experiencers of that system is ourselves. We have developed in beautiful ways. We are always developing, obviously, so we're not finished yet. We're always developing and growing and awakening. And what I want to say right now about where we're at is both Sasha and I are living on purpose. We're serving our mission in this world. We are both feeling more authentic than ever. We are more in touch with our true nature than ever. And we feel very inspired to share with all of you and with the entire world, with whoever is ready to hear. We're excited to share the system we've put together and the ideas and the practices that are contained within it. So this is what we'll be speaking about today, the rabbit hole system, but moreover, the rabbit hole, just what holistic transformation can yield into our lives. Because let's face it, we're all yearning for self-actualization. It's a human need, and we all feel that longing and that yearning to keep evolving, to keep fulfilling our potential, and to keep awakening into our true nature. All of us feel it. It's part of human nature. And so we're happy that you're here. We would like to start our conversation by asking you a question. And feel free to put that on the chat, to put your answer on the chat. And the question we'd like to ask you is, how intentional are you about your personal growth in this time of your life? Just drop a number. One would be, well, I take whatever comes my way and I kind of navigate life taking what comes my way. Two would be, I actively seek a few books, a little bit of content here and there. I go on retreats periodically. I kind of practice, not constantly. And three would be, I am all about my personal growth and I'm focused. That's a big focus in my life. So feel free to put something on the chat so we get to see a little bit of your own experience. Beautiful. 10, amazing. We have some 10s even way beyond 3. Wow, this is beautiful. At 80, I am a 3. How beautiful. So we have so many 3s and so many 2s as well. So this tells us something about this beautiful group. Amazing. Beautiful. Amazing. This is the choir. Amazing. So we'll jump right into our conversation then. Thank you so much for your answers.
Okay. Hello, you beautiful people. Thank you for coming today for this conversation. Yeah, sounds like this is the choir, as some of you are saying. Let me figure out how to put this on the big screen. There you go. So today we're talking about this fascinating topic about holistic life improvement. What could be more interesting? So in the course of the next minutes, we'll be talking about life improvement and holistic life improvement, what that even is, what does it mean to improve life across all aspects of it. Then we'll talk about holistic human evolution, and we will go into the topic of why even evolve, why bother, and why do it intentionally, which so many of you are already doing. Then we'll talk about how to evolve most effectively. Is that even possible? What that means, and what would that be? And then we'll go into very concrete blueprints of our system that has worked so well for us, ourselves, and the people we work with, and even family and friends. So we'll be sharing keys and techniques for acceleration of holistic growth. And hopefully it will be useful for many of you. And then we'll wrap it up with a guided meditative experience where we will go into a journey to expand our awareness and open our heart. And then we'll give the floor back to Jim. So let's jump right into it with the holistic life improvement. So when people get asked about what they would like from life and how they would like their life improved, people a lot of times say that I would like more happiness, all the abundance I can get, the resources, the money, and free time to enjoy that. And I also figured out this formula when I was a teenager. And I remember I felt so happy about figuring out something so important in life. On a more serious note, when people get asked about key areas of their life they would like improved, usually these are the usual candidates, right? So it's better inner states of happiness and joy, freedom, and so on, better relationships with our life partners, with our family, colleagues, abundance and success. Then there is health and vitality, and more desirable surroundings, such as having this great home that we want, and so on. And the question is, well, how do we get there? How do we do all of that? And well, this is the big idea, that life improvement happens as a byproduct or as a result of our inner growth or evolution. So what we're saying here is that to get holistic and rapid life improvement, we want to focus on rapid and holistic human evolution, because then we get to that life improvement as a result. So now we'll move on then to the human evolution, to the holistic human evolution, and ask ourselves, so what is this thing? What is human evolution? What is inner growth? And as Karime was alluding to, we evolve, right? As all nature does. We're part of nature. Nature evolves nonstop, and so do we. And there is a lot of different fields of knowledge and schools of thought, branches of science, ancient wisdom traditions that look into this topic and that try to give an answer to it and map it. And so there is developmental psychology and spiral dynamics, and on the side of the scientific schools of thought. But then there is also shamanic wisdom tradition and Buddhism and yogic philosophy and so on. So essentially, people call it different names, right? Self-actualization, human development, and inner growth, self-transformation, enlightenment, awakening. And essentially, we're talking about the same process of human evolution, same thing, just different angles. So then the question is, okay, great. So how do we actually get to understand it? Is there a good map? Is there a good summary? And many of you know that there is one. There is a good scientifically validated map that most of the schools of thought would agree on. And this is, well, integral theory, the most popular one, by Ken Wilber. Then there is also a framework called iConscious. Maybe some of you are aware of that. We like it a lot as well. Then there is, well, Rabbit Hole, our organization. So our own approach, building up on integral theory and iConscious and so on. And there are other holistic lenses. And so what are they all in agreement on? All the sciences and all the ancient traditions. the science and spirituality dichotomy? Well, what they agree on is that it's about these 5 major aspects of our human evolution. So it's a process of mastering our consciousness, mastering our mind, mastering our emotions, mastering our uniqueness, and mastering the body. And indeed, if we look at all these schools of thoughts, then usually they would focus on one particular aspect: consciousness, mind, emotions, uniqueness, or body. And in terms of integral theory, these are referred to as waking up, growing up, cleaning up, showing up, and then the integration or embodiment of the 4. So now that we got close to a working definition of holistic human evolution, and holistic is important, right? Integral, holistic, we use interchangeably. Why don't we ask ourselves, so why bother? Why evolve? And why do it intentionally? So the reason one really is that, well, let's be honest and admit that we're after life improvement. We're after having a great journey on this planet. So we want better inner states, relationships, abundance, health and vitality, and the surroundings. And life improvement is the result of holistic evolution. So that's really the biggest reason. Another reason is that, as Karime alluded to again, is that it's a fundamental human need, really. So if it's not addressed, then nothing deeply fulfills us. And there are ways to address it intentionally. There are. So really, we always evolve, whether we're aware of it or we're not, we always do. So the question really is, do we choose to intentionally accelerate our individual evolution? And well, we saw that most of you are answering with a clear yes. There is another reason, and it's to the question of, okay, so as we master all of these aspects of ourselves, what happens? What happens? Like what changes for me? And well, these are some of the key ideas. As we master our consciousness, we get more conscious and mindful. And I'll talk in a second about what that actually means in our life. As we master our mind, our thinking gets sharper. We see deeper layers of reality, and we start loving and seeing interconnectedness of all life. These are keys, by the way. So these are reminders. We all know this, but reminding ourselves of these things can be quite powerful. So in terms of mastering our emotions, well, we take things less personal as we allow emotions to pass through us, and we read the information that comes with the emotions. In terms of our uniqueness or authenticity, we get to know ourselves better and better and better, and hence show up as ourselves. So this cliche phrase of be yourself, just be yourself. Well, how do you actually do that? And that's the process of mastering our uniqueness. And in terms of the body, well, we gain more vitality, health, and we come back to natural posture, natural breathing. So the breathing we did in the beginning of this session is the natural breathing, symmetrical, 5.5 seconds or so, that is connected to the coherence between heart and body, but that's another topic. So in terms of mastering our consciousness, we start savoring every single moment of life in states of inner peace and joy and happiness. In terms of the mind, well, then we're able to create objects and systems and products and companies in sync with humanity and with nature. And we have less and less conflict, because conflict, as we understand that conflict happens between worldviews and ideas, not between individuals. In terms of our emotions, our decision making gets upgraded as we make decisions more and more out of the place of sovereignty. So no external influences, but our own freedom and our own choices. And that gives lightness to our very experience of life. In terms of uniqueness, we self-express more and more, and we self-express authentically, and well, that brings bliss with it. And in terms of the body, we already talked about this. So there is the lightness, there's less physical disease, and there is a samurai-like state, you know, when a samurai is deeply relaxed and absolutely calm, and at the same time ready for action, alert and ready for action. So this was the reason number 3. And now we're moving on to the practicality of it. So how do we actually evolve most effectively? And we're going to build up on that to answer this question at the end of this section. So we're starting with these 2 mountains. And what we do in life, definitely I've done that many times, and I think it's quite a universal human experience, is that sometimes we climb unnecessary mountains. So we go to the top of the mountain only to realize that that was not the real goal. So usually there is always, on any journey, there is a faster path and there is a slower path. And the slower path just means that we climb unnecessary mountains. So what does that mean in terms of our human evolution, our personal growth, our transformation, or whatever name we want to use? Well, one common pitfall or unnecessary mountain is having partial growth. So if we leave out important areas of development, then growth is slower naturally. An example of that would be to do a lot of psychotherapy or psychoanalysis, but not work on our awareness and our mindfulness, and be falling into the same old patterns again and again, and not seeing them in the moment when we fall into them. Another common pitfall, and this is an interesting point there, is what we call self-help or spiritual entertainment. So a lot of times, and I've done that again, I think a lot of people have done that, we just tell ourselves little lies that by engaging in endless activity of spiritual videos and YouTube content and transformational programs and these retreats and esoteric knowledge and books and so on, we are progressing. But a lot of times what we are doing is climbing a necessary mountain. We are losing track of what the real goal is, which is actual growth, not entertaining ourselves with spiritual knowledge or self-help or whatever we want to call it, but actually growing, actually experiencing growth. Another one is doing it solo. So I've been there as well. A lot of times what we do is that we think we can figure it all out. The issue is that we don't know what we don't know. So if we push away guidance from other people, if we push away doing it in communities, in groups, then it's a slower path. Doing it solo is a slower path. And the last one I want to mention is giving away our power. What we mean by that is, sometimes we rely a bit too much on a particular guru or on a particular teaching or on maybe plant medicine or psychedelics as a way to experience certain states. But the point, again, is to empower ourselves to have self-transformation, actual growth, and not to give away our power to a substance or a person or whatever. So what we're saying here is that essentially we are in this dichotomy between partial slower growth with likely detours and frustration. So in a way, walking blindfolded, really, kind of forgetting here and there our real goal, and an optimal, simultaneous, holistic improvement across all key areas of life. Sounds great, right? So this analogy, I think, drives the point home. So imagine you're lost in a foreign city and you want to find your way to a particular place. So a slower path would be, well, not using any tools. So you just wander around and maybe ask people here and there and go on detours, some dead ends. And then the opposite would be to use a tool like, and we love the analogy of Google Maps or a navigator app like Waze or something. And what's good about this analogy? What's good about Google Maps? Well, one, they give you the map of the territory that you are exploring. Two, there is a GPS location. Three, they tell you the immediate next steps, right? So stay on this highway and then turn right. Then they give you points of interest so you can see what is it that actually you want. Another point about Google Maps is that they give you step-by-step directions. And then finally, they show you the fastest routes, don't they? So what that means for personal evolution journey is that wouldn't we like to know what's available for us to grow into? Wouldn't we need to know where we are now so that we can know our immediate and most optimal next step? Then wouldn't we also want to know what is it that we want? And finally, there is the guidance piece, right? The step-by-step directions, and then an optimal path with minimum steps. So what if we had all these components for our own personal evolution? The answer to this question of how to evolve most effectively that we've come up with is the following: that for holistic life improvement, that is an optimal path, we want to, first of all, make sure we include all areas of development, that we're not forgetting about some aspects of our own evolution. Second, we want to have a good map of human evolution. We really want to acquire such a map, equip ourselves with such a map, and consult it. Three, we want to find out where we are currently. That helps us as well. Four, we want to get guidance. Excuse me. We want to get guidance from people. Well, first of all, we do want to get guidance. At least that's our answer. And we also want to get guidance from people that actually walk the talk. Number five is that we want to start, and if we already have one, we want to grow an integral self-transformation practice that empowers us and that actually propels us forward. And then finally, we want to build momentum and ride that momentum. And what that means is that we want to continuously be building up on what we already have so that the inertia just propels us and takes us forward. And we'll talk about that in a second. So we're done with the 4 points, and now we're in the juicy, meaty, whatever your food preferences are, part of the keys, codes, and techniques for actual rapid holistic growth. And let's jump right into it. So the keys and codes and the techniques are to holistic life improvement. And again, I'm reminding all of us that it happens as a result of evolution, our own inner growth. So to have rapid holistic life improvements, we want to focus on rapid holistic human evolution. So the keys that we're going to be sharing too, which is essentially a blueprint of the system that we created. We're just sharing the entire blueprint with you, regardless of whether you engage with us or not. Just to be as helpful as possible with this information. The keys are to the evolution, and the life improvement is the byproduct. So the keys are to consciousness, mind, emotions, uniqueness, and body. And this is an optimal path. By no means this is the optimal path. This is one of the optimal paths. So we found that an optimal path is to add a sequence to these aspects of our human evolution. So what we found is that starting with mastering our consciousness is conducive to faster growth, because that helps a lot with mastering the mind and mastering emotions. And I'll show the mechanism of that in a second. And that in turn, that helps us with mastering our uniqueness, or showing up, and mastering our body, or integrating, embodying all of these changes into our life. And to explain the mechanism, well, at the center of our everyday experience, of our every waking moment, are thoughts and emotions. We keep thinking, well, as we master our mind, actually less and less, more and more effective and insightful thoughts, but we do nevertheless. And we also experience emotions, right? So, and we are aware to a different extent. We can be more aware of our thoughts, or we can be, did I say more? We can be less aware of our thoughts, and we can be more aware of our thoughts, obviously. And in the same vein, we can be feeling our emotions less intensely or more intensely. So essentially, we're always aware and we are always feeling. This is a universal human experience. It's always there. We're always aware and we are always feeling. So by being more aware of our thoughts and feeling our emotions more intensely, we start mastering our mind and our emotions through these mechanisms. This is a bit of a simplification, but we feel that this is the centerpiece of how it really works. That when we become more aware of our thoughts, we start noticing more and more cognitive mistakes in our thinking. And this is at the very core of the mastery of the mind. And as we feel our emotions more and more intensely, we start seeing our shadows. And those of you, and I assume so many of you, have done work on healing and shadow work, you're probably connecting with this. As we see more shadows, that's when we shine light on them, and that's when we master our emotions. And as a result of that, we start living as we think and as we experience emotions. And hence, we show up more in life, so master our uniqueness. And then we also embody all this knowledge and all this new way of thinking and feeling as we continue this process. So all of these aspects of holistic human evolution are interrelated, and it's important to tackle them at once, all of them at once. And yet there is a sequence to them that helps to accelerate human transformation in our approach, in our own experience, in our work with clients, and to the best of our knowledge. So now we're moving on to the very meat of this, or very juicy part of this, the master keys to each one of these 5 aspects. So master keys to consciousness, master keys to the mind, emotions, uniqueness, and the body. And what is a master key? A master key is, you're probably familiar with this concept, but essentially imagine a hotel and there's a hotel manager. And the hotel manager usually has a master key, which is a key that opens all doors. So a master key is a key of keys, a meta key, something that is optimal in order to grow in a certain area of our life. So let's jump right into these master keys. So we're starting with the first one, mastering consciousness. And there are 2 master keys really, because there are 2 aspects to consciousness that are at the center of this approach: awareness and feeling. So in order to master consciousness, we want a set of techniques that allow us to consistently increase our awareness day by day, and also a set of techniques to open the heart, or in other words, to feel more intensely. Now, moving on to the second master key, to mastering the mind. The best master key we found is actually equipping oneself with the state-of-the-art map of human evolution. So just learning about how we grow is psychoactive and accelerates our growth. And in terms of mastering the emotions, the best key we've found is to have a set of techniques to clean up on the go. We call it ABC, always be cleaning. So instead of reading books on therapy and, well, not instead of, but rather in addition to all of these other ways of healing, we feel that having techniques to do the healing work or cleaning up work or shadow work exactly in the moment when emotions run high and when things are happening, applying these techniques to center ourselves, to understand, to see the root of the block, and to heal the block through feeling it is the very master key. Moving on to mastering uniqueness, we find that finding out our top strengths, which we call superpower, is the master key to mastering uniqueness. Because as we show up in the world, we want to have knowledge of ourselves, and then we want to show up according to that knowledge. So by knowing our very, very, very essence of top strengths is akin to knowing our purpose. Imagine that we're a wrench that opens. I take back the wrench analogy. Let's just move on with the essence of it. So by knowing our very essence of top strengths, we can then apply it in the world, and we can see different aspects of our life through the prism of what we enjoy the most, love the most, get best results at. So using our top strength at finding that new job, getting that new project, finding a mentor, focusing on what knowledge to acquire, because we grow the fastest in our areas of strengths. So that is the master key, finding that essence of top strengths and then seeing the world through the prism of that superpower. And then finally, on mastering the body, well, some of them are usual suspects. Movement, so moving, and sleeping are cornerstone aspects of body. And in terms of the movement, we found that dancing is actually one of the most effective ways to engage the body for multiple reasons. And then posture and breath are extremely important as well, where we come back to our natural posture, our erect spine, just like we had when we were children, and also come back to the natural breathing. I don't know if some of you may know that for some reason, adults change their way of breathing to an unnatural way of breathing. And I won't talk about it more, but it's a fascinating topic, and coherence of heart and breathing coherence is one aspect of it, but there are other aspects. So this is the full list of the master keys. If you want to make a screenshot, maybe it's a good idea, or you can always come back to the recording. And from here, we're moving on to even more codes and practical applied information, how to actually experience all of this growth. So in terms of growing awareness and opening the heart, we found that combining these two into one practice is really conducive to growth, because a lot of times meditations focus on either of the two. So putting them together in practice is great. Another thing is that it's important to, or it's conducive to growth to literally surf brain waves that we have while we sleep. So when we sleep, we have brain states different to waking consciousness. So doing practice and surfing in this way, the brainwave states right after we wake up, first thing after we wake up, and right before we go to bed is really powerful. Then breath work. Some of you probably know that breath work is a great tool, and it also works on both aspects, awareness and feeling. Another one is using integral consciousness technologies, and I'll explain that in the next slide. And then finally, prioritizing consistency over length. And this is about building momentum, and there is a separate code or key on that. So what is integral consciousness technologies? Well, this is an example of some of them. Walk in nature. A walk in nature without distractions, without the phone, is actually a great way to immediately change our inner state into a more relaxed state. Very powerful and available to us. Another one is binaural beats, which is a sound technology that allows us to bring ourselves deeper into certain brainwave states, such as flow and other desirable or focus such as other desirable brainwave states. Then guided meditative journeys. So we found that there are people nowadays that put together guided meditative journeys as opposed to just a meditation, a Vipassana meditation, which we also love. And actually, that's another consciousness technology, the combination of Vipassana conscious breathing and Zazen doing nothing meditation. We see that this combo is perhaps the best we found for meditation. And guided meditative journeys where people mix binaural beats, sounds of nature, so soundscapes of nature such as running water, waterfalls, breath work, and music, and guidance. These are very powerful. So you may want to even Google that or search that on YouTube, guided meditative journeys or something similar. Then integral mental models. And this is essentially this presentation. We're sharing integral mental models. There is integral habits. Again, we'll talk about that later. And there is also writing the momentum of peak experiences. There won't be time to talk about this one, but essentially when we have any peak experience, however small or big, we want to find a way to integrate that into our life so that it doesn't remain only a peak experience, but we take what we learned from that peak experience into our life and embody it as much as possible. Building momentum is a way to efficiently and effectively change any behavior or acquire a desired habit or behavior. And essentially, there are three parts to it. We want to set a clear goal, and then we want to have consistent small wins. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say that somebody doesn't exercise at all and then wants to start exercising. So for them, going and spending 2 hours at the gym or running for 2 hours is not conducive to building momentum. What one would need to do is to start small and then have a small win. So maybe run for literally 3 minutes or 5 minutes, no more, and then just keep it consistent and then grow that. And that's the recipe to building momentum in anything, really. Another powerful code is the combination of knowledge and experience as a way to have sustained transformation. So both aspects are important, the knowledge and the experience, because then in that guided experience, the knowledge becomes inner standing or embodied knowledge, something that we don't just know conceptually, but we actually implement into our life and we actually live by it. So then we want to put it on repeat, essentially. We want to go deeper and deeper and deeper with this combination of knowledge and experience, so that we can have sustained transformation, going deeper and deeper and deeper. So bringing us back to this idea that what we seek is life improvement. We want to be in better inner states, better relationships, have more abundance, better health, and more desirable surroundings. And that comes as a result of rapid holistic evolution. And rapid holistic evolution comes as a result of a set of habits that actually advances to our goal, which is growth. And we call that integral self-transformation. Self-transformation, we feel, is important because it talks about the empowerment component. This is not about somebody doing something for us. This is about us being empowered to transform ourselves, because nobody can lose weight for anybody else. People lose weight, not that's just right. It sounds ridiculous even to think about this obvious example, but I feel like we fall into that trap. Sometimes we do fall into that trap of giving our power away. So putting it all together into an integral self-transformation toolkit or practice or blueprint that has worked for us, worked for our clients, for our people we work with, and even our friends and family is: one, focusing on growing awareness and opening the heart at the center of this process. So deepening into presence, deepening into love. 2, using also keys to mind, emotions, uniqueness, and body, doing it all at the same time. 3, using integral consciousness technologies, mixing them up, making our own mixes, being our own guru, learning to become our own guru. Number 4 is to start and or grow daily exploration of inner space and cultivation of desirable inner states. Then building momentum, just continuing to take the inertia from the previous successes and building on them and building on them. Number 6 is combining knowledge and experience, knowledge and experience in this ever deepening loop of going down the rabbit hole, if you will. Number 7, using tests to orient ourselves, where we are and what's next to us. And yes, the tests that we recommend usually are the eye conscious test, Enneagram, and also tests that help us understand where we are on growing up. So spiral dynamics integral. And finally, instead of doing it solo, joining a community, well, getting guidance, but also joining a community around inner and spiritual growth, joining like-hearted and like-minded people. And well, in terms of our program, we put it into a sequential steps. So this is the actual real blueprint of how the program is built. And you can also, take these ideas for your own practice if you wish. So the way we built the program is that we start by understanding integral self-transformation, which to a large extent we did in this presentation. Then building a daily practice that where we surf the waves, the brain state waves of the night, and where we build the momentum. Then understanding and experiencing also awareness, understanding and experiencing feeling, and then going into understanding and experiencing the other aspects. So growing up, learning a map of growing up or acquiring a map of growing up, cleaning up, showing up, and then learning about the power of social and how we can grow together. So this is what I had for the keys, codes, and techniques. And we're moving on into the guided experience, which I will quickly open with a short set of keys that can facilitate for us to go even deeper into this experience. So in every waking moment of our life, since we're born until we die, as we said, we have awareness of what's going on, of what's happening in the moment. And we're also feeling, regardless of how much we're aware of how much and what we're feeling, we are feeling and sensing. And this awareness and feeling capacity or ability is not static. It changes over time, and it can be trained as well. So when we have lower awareness and feeling capacity, then we literally perceive reality with lower detail, lower vividness, quality, resolution. And then as we move to higher awareness and feeling, it's as if the resolution goes up and up and up, and there is no limit to this process, really. So if we were to imagine that we have a virtual reality helmet, then growing our awareness and capacity to feel is akin to upgrading our virtual reality headset, so that it provides, better resolution and level of detail and vividness of what we feel and are aware of. And what is it that we actually feel and are aware of in any moment of our life? Well, we talked about thoughts and emotions, but really there is way more, right? There are the 5 senses. We hear things, we taste things, we smell things, we see things, we touch things. There are also bodily sensations, and there is way more, really. This is just a short list, but there are so many. So for example, we have the ability to feel position in space, gravity. We're able to feel into people, places, to vibe people and surroundings. There are even studies that show that all mammals, including ourselves, have the capacity to sense magnetic fields, in fact, which to many people that are into spirituality is not news, but science discovered it. And we love science, by the way. Intuition, and then even extrasensory perception. So when we are aware and feel more, then we move from perceiving less to perceiving more and perceiving more. So our lives gets richer, juicier, more vivid across all of these aspects of what life consists of. So now we're inviting you to directly experience an expansion of our awareness and our feeling abilities with this guided journey. And you may want to observe how your sensations, thoughts, emotions, and so on acquire more and more of this quality, resolution, granularity as we go deeper into the practice. And with that, I give the floor to Karime to guide us into this experience.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, that was a lot of beautiful ideas and a lot of information. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so do we have a slide on breath?
We do.
Okay, so let's just take one deep breath. Beautiful. Great. Beautiful. We're gonna go into a guided experience for about 10 to 12 minutes. We're not gonna extend it for too long, but we're gonna just do this together for a short little bit. I'm gonna very quickly run you through the 3-part breath we will be using for this guided experience. And it's very simple. It's a simple breath. It may be new for some of you, but it's just a very simple breath. What we will be doing is inhaling in 3 instances. We're gonna start inhaling into our stomach. We're gonna make our mouth as though we're saying the vocal I. Then we're going to inhale into our chest as though we're making the sound ah. And then we're gonna inhale into our throat as though we're making the sound ooh. And it's gonna be sequential, so not stopping it. It's gonna be just the 3 parts, one after the other, and then we're gonna breathe out effortlessly through our mouth. Okay, so let's practice this for a moment together. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. If you feel a little bit like, oh, am I doing it right? Is it okay? Don't worry about it. Your body will sink into it. Your body will sink into it. We'll do it together. I'll be guiding you through it. The most important piece is to breathe into your stomach, your chest, and your throat area. And in that sequence, breathe in and then exhale. And then in that sequence again, 1, 2, 3, breathe in, exhale. And we're going to be doing this for a few rounds. And I'm going to be guiding you into some breath holds and body tension. We're going to hold our breath in the inhale when I guide you to, and we're going to be tensing our bodies into one singular point of energy, then slowly releasing back out. I'm going to be guiding you, so get comfortable. What I really suggest is that you tame your ego a little bit. So when you're holding your breath, when your ego starts saying, oh, this is not good, we're gonna die, we're gonna pass out, just try to push it a few more seconds, but please listen to your body. Some people really take it to the extreme, not our breath work, but any type of breath work really. They may take it to the extreme and override what their body needs. So when your body speaks, listen to it. and just trust the process. Okay, we're going to be starting in 30 seconds. So just get comfortable. If you need to lie down, if you have a space to lie down, that would also be okay. If you are seated, just make sure you're seated in a comfortable space. And we're going to get started in 30 seconds. Beautiful. Great. So I invite you to close down your eyes and start sinking into the space you're in, taking deep inhales in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every out breath, you can sigh out any tension, any negativity, any resistance, any expectation. Just sighing out and relaxing your body while remaining alert. A couple more breaths like this. Inhaling deeply in through your nose and exhaling, releasing out through your mouth. Beautiful. Now start feeling your feet on the ground. Start feeling the volume of your legs, the volume and weight of your torso. And breathe in and out through your nose. Deep, elongated breaths as you bring your awareness to your shoulders, allowing them to drop down away from your ears, moving down to your arms, feeling their volume, their weight, and bringing your awareness to your hands, allowing them to feel fully relaxed and heavy. Deep breathing, slow, elongated, deep breaths. Now feel the weight of your head. Feel its volume. And feel the neck holding this head upright. Whether you're seated or lying down, allow your body to be balanced between relaxation and alertness. Now we're going to start our 3-part breath, starting in 3, 2, 1. Continue this breath in through your stomach, your chest, and your throat, and out effortlessly. Continue breathing in this way. Commit to this moment. Commit to this breath. Two more breaths like this. You can do it. And in your next inhale, take in as much air as you can through your mouth and hold it. Hold it here and start tensing your feet, your legs, tense your pelvic floor, belly, your chest, your arms, your fists, the muscles in your face. Squeeze your entire body into a singular point of energy located at your center. Hold it for a little longer. Hold it here. Hold it here. And now, slowly let go whenever you're ready. Releasing slowly your out breath back out and relaxing your body back into expansion. Now take another deep inhale in through your nose and hold it at the top of your inhale. Hold it for a few seconds here and relax as though you were in the bottom of the ocean, ever so still, ever so silent. Now breathe out through your nose and hold it at the top of your out breath. Remain still. Beautiful. Now you can go back to your own body's breathing rhythm. And I'm going to invite you to start connecting with the center of the earth. Start feeling as though you had a string pulling you downward into the center of the earth, pulling you down by gravity into the core of our mother. Keep breathing. And if any thoughts or distractions come in, say not now. And continue focusing on your breath and gravity. Now with your next inhale, elongate your spine and feel as though you're being pulled by the crown of your head up towards the cosmos. And with every inhale, elongate into this pull upward. And with every exhale, you sink into the gravity that pulls you down. Stay with your breath. Stay with your expansion. upward and downward. Now I invite you to take a deep inhale into your heart space, into the center of your heart space. And as you exhale, I invite you to allow your heart space to expand horizontally, opening up your horizontal axis to include more and more perception. As you breathe in, you feel the expansion sideways, in front, and in your back. You feel as your field, your magnetic field expands. Taking a couple of deep breaths here, enjoying this present moment. And remembering that we are always one breath away from home, one breath away from our natural state, which is loving presence. Take a couple more deep breaths here, and maybe smile. Feeling gratitude for this breath of life that is always with us as a master key into our true nature. Final deep breath here. Make it the most conscious breath you've taken today yet. And as you feel ready, you can float your eyes open and remain here, this beautiful state of presence. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much for this moment we've shared, for this short practice. Thank you so much for your time, for your presence, for your openness. Thank you all. We'll be sharing the links to the rabbit hole and our personal contacts as well in a moment on the chat. And we're giving it back to you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Kareem. Thank you, Sasha. A wonderful program. Like integral theory, generally, it's very intricate, very complex, but such is the pathway of consciousness transformation within an integral framework. So thank you for that. And please do put the link, I'll put it in now for the course.
Sure, thank you.
And it's a course that's going to be self-paced, so you can just go to the go to the, I'm just putting it in again.
Thank you, Jim.
There we go, the rabbit hole. And a number of us on the staff at Ubiquity are going to be taking it just to refresh our memories. As many of you know, Ken Wilber is the chancellor of Ubiquity University and has been from the very beginning 10 years ago. He's an old friend and colleague. And so anything integral is something that we at Ubiquity embrace because we believe that integral theory, integral philosophy, integral practice is really the key for the modern world, because as Kareem and Sasha were saying, it's the one system that takes everything into consideration. The personal and the collective, the inner and the outer. You know, you have states, but you also have stages. And when you really understand the grandeur of what Ken Wilber has brought into the world, it's just a major, major achievement of the human spirit. So I'm just very pleased to be able to recommend these two individuals to you, who are coming in from Bali, by the way, which is a wonderful place to be about this time, and it's past midnight there. But as we close, Kareem and Sasha, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your personal lives. I mean, how did you end up in Bali? How did you end up on this pathway? Because you've really dove in with all your heart and soul, and it's you can feel that you're both embodying this practice in your lives, and would just like to hear a little bit more detail of your odyssey. What brought you to this?
Yeah, well, thank you for that question, Jim. It's what brought us here, and I don't only say here geographically, but I mean here where we're at today, has been intuition. There's been a lot of intuition in throughout our journey. There's been a lot of guided action, and the reason I say intuition is because I feel it's the inner knowledge that each one of us has within, right? So what really sparked our intuition was when we lowered down the noise from the world. That is, when we stopped pursuing all those things out there that promise to make us happy, and we actually brought down that noise. In the voice of intuition started going up. And the truth is that intuition speaks to us all the time, but it is only when we're ready to hear that we're able to listen. Intuition will whisper, the mind will yell. And so if we lower down the noise of the mind, we can hear the whispers of intuition. And intuition has led us to many places, Jim. It led us through our journey. It guided us through our journey around the world. It led us to go and live in Amsterdam for a year, where we were practicing and offering a lot of inner transformational work with plant medicine as well, and also the program Rabbit Hole. So that also was very, very conducive for our own growth as well, and our own understanding of this journey. And from Amsterdam, we moved to Bali out of intuition. Again, intuition. We felt like we were called to this land to contribute, but also to take some of the power that is happening here and bring it elsewhere. There's a lot of people here. There's a huge spiritual community on Bali. And I feel sometimes we can get trapped into bubbles. And it's really important for us, for both Sasha and I, to not only be here and benefit from what's here, but also to take what's here and take it out into the world. And so we've been meeting majestic human beings here that are doing very, very powerful work. And we're trying to collaborate with as many people as possible to spread the love and the light that is harvested and cultivated on this land. So intuition, and honestly following guidance. It's surrender, a lot of surrender, because sometimes it's hard.
Beautiful. What about you, Sasha? What would you add?
Yeah, I feel like yeah, I would second everything Karima said, that guided action, like we have this thing sometimes when in meditation we receive a lot of just insights, and it's like raining insights, and then we start like dancing at home, and just yelling, it's raining insights, it's raining insights, and all these insights together. So it's just very beautiful how this program, this blueprint, and the other work that we're doing, it's just coming through. It's just being put together piece by piece, and then we just follow that and get out of the way as much as possible. Meaning, looking for the ego drives, and watching it splitting where the ego talks and where the guided actions talk. And essentially, the three topics I would also add, maybe one last thing. Three topics fascinate me and us. One is evolution of human consciousness, how we're all moving exponentially into new stages of consciousness as humanity. So that's one. Two is the cooperation, like how we as humans interact with this new lens and with this new way of seeing the world. We move from egoism to altruism, but without self-sacrifice and martyrdom, which is wisdom, uh, to distinguish the two. And so everything around how we can cooperate together and interact all together as humanity, where everyone brings their power and their uniqueness into the equation. That's the second topic, and I will leave it at two.
Yeah. I just want to add as well, Jim, very quickly that my path has been before my professional path and education was as a policymaker. And I deeply, deeply, deeply care about systemic causes and systemic issues. And right now, some people question me from my other side of my life where I was like impacting large systems. They now question me and they're like, why are you going individual by individual? How does this work? And I'm like, well, actually, it's how it works, because from within is that we create the world outside of us. And so now my focus has shifted to assist people to develop within, because it is from within that we project whatever we create outside. You were speaking about the war, Jim, earlier, right? And well, what happens is if we're not able to include more perspectives, if we're not able to see the interconnectedness of all life, then we can jump into those radical expressions that humanity has jumped into. And so I feel that as much as we upgrade our inner systems, we naturally have to upgrade the systems outside of us.
Yeah, yeah. Well put. Well put. Well, thank you both so much. You're pioneers of the human spirit. You're really doing extraordinary, both intellectual work, I would say, but also heart and body work. And the 2 and 3, 4, we have many, many dimensions, all have to be brought together all at the same time. And so it's going down the rabbit hole, everyone. And that's where you begin integral transformation. So thank you both very much. Wish you all the best. I look forward to taking your course and recommend it to our Humanity Rising global audience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jim, for having us. It's been an honor to speak to this audience. So
it's been an honor to have both of you. And that brings us to a close, everyone. We thank Kareem and Sasha for this program. You're all welcome to the after session chat group. You'll see the link in the chat box, and then we'll see you all again here tomorrow, where we're going to take up a couple of the issues we've addressed before, one of which is going to be updates from what's happening in Iran, because that's been a major theme over the last several months, the death of Mahsa Amini. And so we're going to bring our conclusion for 2022 by bringing us a summary and an update around what's going on in Iran, and also some other events that took place in Europe during Unity Week. So thank you, everyone. Bye for now.